Oh, hello. Did not see you there. Um, well, today I suppose I'd better talk about the new Pokemon games, Pokemon Black 2 and Pokemon White 2. Now, after their predecessors, Pokemon Black and White, I had been expecting something great. You must understand this before I begin my review of the sequels. Uh, Black and White were quite possibly one of the best Pokemon games, or even best games I have ever played before. Largely because of their story and all the intricacies that were contained in it, especially for a Pokemon game. And although I do have to say that Hot Gold and Soul Silver were much better. Those are the best. Troll me if you wish. Now, so after Black and White, I had been expecting something glorious, something to expand on the story and make it even bring it to even greater heights, and instead I got Pokemon Black 2 and Pokemon White 2. Now they're not bad games. Let me say this straight out. They are actually rather good, largely because they are in fact Pokemon games. And as one of my favorite series, I can never hate one of those games. However, they were not quite up to the standards of their predecessors, and if you think I am being unfair for comparing them to Black and White, that is because they are in fact called Black 2 and White 2. So it is sort of in the job description to live up to their predecessors. Now, the reason for that, the gameplay remains basically the same. You are a Pokemon trainer who is collecting Pokemon, and there were some new forms introduced in this generation, or not generation, but iteration, I should say. Generation is something else entirely, if you're talking about Pokemon. But they, some of the legendaries in particular obtained new forms, and that was a welcome addition. Some of them are a bit ridiculous and not quite necessary. In particular, the Therian forms of the Pokemon Thundurus, Tornadus, and Landorus. I'm not entirely sure why they needed those new forms, but I do have to say that those new forms do look quite good, even though it would be a little bit confusing to anyone, I believe, if they had not seen their original forms as to what they were supposed to be based on, or in fact why they were half flying, as one of them is a cat, and another one has no wings. And in any case, the major form changes, however, were in fact Qrem, who obtained two new forms, not just one, but two. And it, in fact, was the mascot for both Black 2 and White 2, as each of its new forms. So, and there was some variation between them. They did have different stats, and they even had different moves. It's almost like they were different Pokemon, and so I suppose that would explain why they were made the mascots for the two different versions. And it is also interesting to note that Qrem's extra forms now are are tied for the second best Pokemon ever after Arceus, which is interesting to note, especially since Qrem was the weakest of the legendary mythological legendaries, if you will, in Black and White. Now, what my main complaint with this game is, in fact, the story. After the story of Black and White, I as I said, I had been expecting great things and a moving conclusion, in fact, to the plot, which was left hanging somewhat with Getsis's disappearance. It was fairly obvious that he would be returning in future games, but I have to say that I found the conclusion to that overarching story a little bit anticlimactic. It after the entire moral dilemma of the previous game, in which people were fighting essentially over whether Pokemon should be used as tools or used to fight or allowed to go free or however. This game's plot essentially involved, once again, a madman taking control of a legendary Pokemon in order to take over the world. And it was a bit of a letdown after the previous game, although most of the other games in the franchise before that, after Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, followed the same formula. So, cannot really complain there. It's just that it was a little bit disappointing after the great heights to which Black and White took the Pokemon story. Other than that, it was a pretty decent game. It brought, other than the new forms, as I mentioned, it brought new items, a few new gameplay, a few new gameplay segments. In particular, the Pokewood, which, now that I think about it, is a sort of unfortunate name. It is the replacement, if you will, for the contest. Although the Pokemon musical, I shudder every time I hear those two words together. It is still, in fact, present. But the Pokewood is a much better placement for it. I loathe musical. It is trash. And there are new areas, which was quite nice, and all the old areas are still accessible for the most part, except for Route 10 is now not accessible. But it is it is an almost worthy successor. The only place where it falls flat is in the anticlimactic plot. I do have to say one thing though, it is quite a bit harder than Black and White were, and in fact, now that I think about it, probably most other Pokemon games that I've played as well. Never before have I almost lost or as much as I did in this game. Even when I reached the Pokemon League, and my Pokemon were even a higher level than the Elite Fours after I level grinded them, I still had quite a bit of difficulty defeating them, and my rival just about destroyed me, mostly because I had that one. But it is still an example of the game's very high difficulty, and it is quite a challenge, but an enjoyable one, for the most part. And I do like that that Pokemon that were only available in previous generations, such as the Regis and the Latias twins, if you will, the Eon Pokemon, I suppose I should say that, were made available. It was a quite welcome addition, especially even though I possess the older games and can get them quite easily. But it gives it points, at least regarding the newer players. But overall, it was a quite average experience for a Pokemon game. Some of the extra stuff was a little bit exciting and added the extra content was quite enjoyable for the most part. The new features were good. The plot, not so much, but it was rather standard for a Pokemon plot, so I cannot complain all that much. Though I do have to say, it after all of that, Black and White are in fact superior. But it is they are worth checking out. So if you are a Pokemon fan, then you would do well to buy these games and give them a try, or won't say rent them because you won't be able to finish it in the time to rent them. But they are worth checking out. They are decent to play. Just do not expect something of the same grandeur and innovation as Pokemon Black and White. This is your classy gamer bidding you adieu.